What's up, YouTube? Today I want to talk about handyman versus contractor. Being a handyman has pros and cons, as well as being a contractor. You may think negatively about a handyman who does crappy work and a contractor as professional, or some of you may have a very detailed, quality-driven, enthusiastic, very good at his job handyman and a crappy contractor. Today I want to talk about the pros and cons of both. Pros of being a handyman. Number one, versatility, right? As a handyman, you have the opportunity to work on a variety of tasks and projects. You can handle a wide range of repairs and maintenance, demolition to installs, lots of small jobs, right? Which keeps the work interesting and diverse. Number two, flexibility. As a handyman, it often allows more flexible hours and schedules, and you can choose the projects you want to do, to take on, and to have more control of your time. Quick in, quick out, but it's not always quick, right? But you get to decide. Number three, lower startup costs. Starting a handyman business typically requires less initial investment compared to becoming a contractor. So you may not need to obtain specific licenses or certifications, which can save you lots of money. The cons of being a handyman: you're limited in your scope of work. As a handyman, you may be limited to small-scale projects and repairs. Like, we can't step foot on a state and federal job, right? You may not have the expertise or legal permissions to take on these larger jobs and construction sites. Number two, lower earning potential. Handyman work is generally paid hourly, and you cannot charge huge prices for small jobs, and you're limited in your potential, right? Number three, lack of specialization. While versatility is a pro, it can also be a con. Being a handyman means you may not specialize in specific trade or skill because you're doing a little bit of everything, which is good and bad. It can make it harder to compare with specialized contractors in certain areas. Pros of being a contractor. Number one, higher earning potential. Contractors often have the ability to charge higher rates for their specialized services. This can lead to higher income potential compared to being a handyman. Number two, specialization. Contractors typically specialize in a specific trade skill, such as plumbing, electrical work, or carpentry, or even welding. This specialization allows for a deeper understanding and expertise in a particular area. Number three, larger projects, right? That's where the money is. Contractors have the ability to take on larger construction or remodeling projects. This can lead to a more substantial and higher profile jobs, which of course means higher pay. Cons of being a contractor. On the big jobs, the big boy jobs, state and federal jobs, you have to accept an invitation to bid. You can't just show up unannounced. You have to be invited or apply to be invited. There may be permits that you have to file for a lot of these projects. Whether it's private or public, you have to have your permits. You have to have an inspector before you do your work. You need an inspector after you do your work. This is all part of the game. You have higher startup costs, so you have to spend a lot more money and wait longer before getting paid. Starting a contracting business often requires a bigger initial investment compared to being a handyman. Along with those licenses, certifications, insurance, you probably have to increase your insurance rates, and you may need a bond. If you do bigger jobs, a lot of times the general or the owner wants to see that you can actually complete your work, and so you have to do a bond as well as insurance. Number two, more regulations. Well, I guess I did mention that with permits and different things like that, but you've got lots of legal requirements compared to a handyman. And then there's building codes, and everything has to be done according to code. You can't take shortcuts, especially knowing you're going to have an inspector. You're going to ensure proper insurance coverage. Number three, less flexibility. So contractors do have less flexibility in terms of working hours, schedules. They have work with a lot of subs, and you got to meet deadlines. You have to get in there. Maybe you have a small window of opportunity. You have to stay up late to get this project done because it's due tomorrow. You don't get to sleep for 8 hours tonight. And then you have to adhere those deadlines. And so ultimately the choice between being a handyman and a contractor depends on your skills, your interests, and your career goals. Consider the type of work you enjoy doing and the level of expertise and the market, the demand, right? You can be a handyman in a rich neighborhood and a contractor in a poor neighborhood. Or you can be a contractor in a rich neighborhood and a handyman in a poor neighborhood. There's so many variables, but ultimately it is up to each individual person to do what you feel you need to do.
So you're an artist? Yeah. Are you good at it?
Yeah.